Hi, I'm Jeff Richards. Welcome to Japan Today Spotlight. More than 7,000 public school teachers in Japan took leave for mental health reasons last year. They're working longer hours than teachers in any other developed country, at least according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. And in a small but disturbing number of cases, the people trusted to protect students have been arrested for serious misconduct, and it keeps happening. These aren't isolated problems. They point to something deeper inside Japan's public school system. What's caused so many teachers to take a leave of absence due to mental illness? Well, there's several factors. Teachers are overworked. They're expected to handle administrative duties. Many also supervise sports clubs, coach sports teams, and extracurricular activities, often on weekends. Class sizes remain high, and that makes it difficult to manage workloads and give students that individual attention they all need. And yes, technology is changing faster than many teachers can adapt. That includes the push to use artificial intelligence, AI, in the classroom. It also includes the shift from paper textbooks to digital materials. It's something a lot of older teachers really struggle with. There are also classroom discipline changes. Those are often combined with very limited institutional support. And then there are the so-called monster parents. They harass teachers and make excessive demands. The frustration is showing up in public reaction and sentiment as well. On a Japan Today Have Your Say poll on teachers' mental health, many readers pointed to overwork, lack of administrative support, and unrealistic expectations placed on schools. Others questioned whether the system, as it currently works, is even sustainable. According to OECD findings, in fiscal 2024, elementary school teachers in Japan worked on average of 52.1 hours per week. Junior high school teachers worked 55.1 hours. Japan's goal is to cut average overtime for teachers to 30 hours a month by fiscal 2029. But the profession faces multiple obstacles that really make teaching less attractive. Many schools struggle to cover staff shortages caused by maternity leave, child leave, or sick leave. Substitute teachers are increasingly difficult to secure. And as I mentioned, class sizes remain large. Elementary and junior high school classes average about 35 students. That's a heavy burden for one teacher, especially when it comes to grading and supervision. In many schools, homeroom teachers teach nearly every subject. There aren't enough full-time specialists. They're also assigned music classes, physical education, and other duties as may be needed. That leaves very little time for breaks. The Education Ministry says it's trying to ease the strain. One move is perhaps shifting these club activities to community programs instead of at the schools. It's also pushing to reduce paperwork through greater use of artificial intelligence. Teachers, however, say reporting requirements from boards of education have only increased. That leaves them even less time to interact with students. And the perception problem is only getting worse. A Japan Today feature described teaching as increasingly being seen as a black profession. In Japan, that term refers to jobs marked by excessive hours, poor conditions, and very little support. That label makes it harder to recruit new teachers, and harder to convince these exhausted ones to stay. Monster parents, known in Japanese as monpa, are aggressive parents who harass teachers and make excessive demands concerning their children. They're often overprotective, they're confrontational, and they insist on long meetings after school. That includes demands for kneeling apologies, interference in classroom management, and persistently criticizing teachers in raised voices. The situation has grown serious enough that in December, the Tokyo Metropolitan Board of Education presented draft guidelines for dealing with these cases. The guidelines cite situations that require intervention. Teachers are advised to record their conversations, including phone calls. They're told to limit in-person meetings to 30 minutes. And school principals should be taking over if parents request more than 2 meetings. And if the behavior continues, lawyers or psychologists may be asked to attend these discussions. Artificial intelligence is changing how teachers teach. Many older teachers struggle to use AI effectively in the classroom. Students, by contrast, are far more comfortable with it. Born into a digital world, students can easily use chatbots to help them with homework. That's raised concerns overseas. Some educators worry AI could weaken students' critical thinking skills. They're also concerned students may trust answers without fact-checking them. Experts in Japan say schools need to train teachers to use AI properly. They also say students need to learn that AI should support learning, not replace thinking. Outside the classroom, AI could also help reduce administrative workloads. Teachers say that kind of support is essential if they're going to stay in the profession. One insidious issue has become increasingly visible in recent years: teachers who sexually exploit students. Across Japan, teachers have been arrested for using miniature or hidden cameras. They've secretly filmed elementary and junior high school girls in classrooms and in changing rooms. That footage was then posted online. Last summer, the country was horrified to learn that an online chat room existed. At least 8 teachers from different prefectures were sharing indecent images of young girls. According to the Education Ministry, 281 teachers at Japanese schools were disciplined or arrested for sexual misconduct in 2024. Offenses included creating and posting sexual deepfake images. There was engaging in sexual relationships with high school girls. They also included sexually molesting students. To prevent repeat offenders from quietly just moving between schools, a national database was finally introduced in 2023. It's meant to track people punished for these indecent acts against children. Yet, nearly 70% of schools said in a survey that they haven't used it. The database currently lists 2,698 individuals. That includes former teachers whose license were revoked by committing indecent acts. Employers are legally required to check the database during the hiring process. So why has it gone unused? Schools cited reasons such as being unaware the checks were mandatory. Others said they lacked a proper understanding of how to use the system. The result is a dangerous loophole. A teacher dismissed for sexual misconduct can apply for a job at another school, in another prefecture, and with a low chance of being detected. Japan is often described as a rules-based society, but when it comes to protecting children, the response has been slow, fragmented, and inconsistent. Schools remove offenders quietly. Background checks go unused, and accountability often stops at the prefectural line. To improve compliance, the Children and Families Agency has drawn up draft guidelines for a new screening system. It will allow schools to check whether job applicants are registered sex offenders going back 20 years. The system is known as the Japanese DBS. It's modeled on Britain's disclosure and barring service. It will apply to schools, licensed daycare centers, and child welfare facilities. It's set to launch at the end of this year. There was a time when teaching in Japan was considered a noble profession. Teachers, known as sensei, were respected not just for academics. They were trusted to shape daily life in schools. Today, that trust is under strain. Overworked teachers are burning out. Schools are struggling to recruit and retain staff. And in some cases, basic safeguards meant to protect children have just failed. In a country built on rules, the failure to enforce the most basic ones is what's hardest to understand. When a system pushes good teachers to the brink and it fails to stop the bad ones from slipping through, the problem is no longer individual, it's institutional. If teaching is no longer sustainable or safe, what does that mean for the future of public education in Japan? From the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See me next time.